Hi there, Stampers. This is Lisa with Queen Bee Creations. Welcome to today's live. Today we are doing an internal shutter card. So from the outside, it's going to look like a standard card. We're going to use a new bundle with washi tape. And then the inside is going to be the wow factor. So I'm excited to show you how it's done. Let's get started. Okay. So as I said, we're going to use this new bundle that actually hasn't come out yet. As demos, we're able to order early and we get a discount. So being a demo can be a really good thing. But this is the Summer Happiness. And it not only is a bundle, but it's also a roll of washi tape. And I've showed you last week, we made a couple cards using this one. And we had even cut some pieces out. So we're going to use those pieces that we cut out of the washi tape. It was put onto basic white paper and then I die cut out using the dies. So these dies will die cut the washi tape and they will die cut the stamped images. They're the same size. So I've got those from last week ready to go. And then we're going to also be die cutting some letters. I have an H and an O, but we're going to need some more letters out of here. So I cut a strip. I guess it's about an inch and an eighth, could be an inch because that doesn't have adhesive sheet on it. But basically what I do is I cut it down to size so that when I only need the L, I'm going to have something that's just, or the E, only that size. And I'm going to need two L's. So we're going to do this. So then I'll be able to run that through the machine and only get those letters rather than getting the entire alphabet. That just simplifies things and saves me on material. Okay, so let me go ahead and just do that really quick while it's sitting here since it's already lined up. I'm going to run that through my mini cut and emboss machine. This is one of the things the mini is good for because the mini has a 3-inch opening, whereas the standard cut and emboss machine has 6 inches. But the little one is great because it doesn't take up much room on your desk and it's easy to travel with. Ooh. And there we go. So here are the letters that we're going to need. And it's because this stamp set, I guess, is actually designed for scrapbook pages. And so the sentiments that come in it are more designed for that. So this is, last week I used the banner sayings. So that's why we have several stamp sets that are just specifically phrases, because maybe the bundle that you're working with might have the great images that you want to use, but may not have the right sentiments. And so that's when a good sentiment set comes in and can be very versatile. Because we're going to use this stamp that says Summer Adventures, but we're only going to use summer. When I got this new stamp set, I stamped the whole thing on a piece of cardstock so that, sorry, when I use a stamp like this one, we're going to pull it off. I'm going to use it. Then when I'm done, I just need to set it back on there and then set this down, matching up all my other images. And then it's all ready to stick back into the container and I don't need to worry about how they all fit on there exactly. Most photopolymer stamps, I just set down on my desk and I let them naturally adjust to whatever they want. And then I pick it up. For this purpose, I'm going to line it up under one of my grid lines, and then I'm going to align the block with a grid line and pick it up so it's nice and straight. But the photopolymers are also great because you can kind of arc it a little bit or bend it to what you want and then pick it up with the block, and you can move it so that it can be kind of a different shape. So there we could do summer adventures and have it arced. So just remember that. Okay, so this one, like I said, we're staying straight. And I'm going to pick that up, but we're only going to use half the stamp. I'm not going to use the adventure part. We're going to start off with a Misty Moonlight card base because I'm going to use this Homemade Sweetness designer series paper. So I just pulled the color out of that. I think this is very summery. So that is, of course, 8.5 by 5.5 scored at 4 1/4. Then I have a piece of basic white that we're going to do some cutting and scoring on that is 8.5 by 5 1/4. That's going to be our inside. Then I have some designer series paper, and I've got a couple different patterns here, but they're all the same size. I have for 8 pieces that are all 1 7/8 by 2. Okay, and then I have 2 that are a solid color here. These are 1 inch by 1 1/8, and these 2 are 7/8 by 1 1/8. So those ones are going to go here. Okay. For the front of the card, I have this piece that is 4 1/4 by 3 3/4, and that's because it's just wide enough for me to lay the washi tape across and have a small border. So I'm going to try to keep this straight. Again, it's best if you're standing up looking straight down. Okay, but I'm going to leave it hang over just a titch, and that's on purpose. Because what I'm going to do is just bend it around to the back so there's no rough edges. Not that the washi tape would be rough, but I'm just going to go ahead and roll it to the back like that. So now it's just going to be that layer with a little bit of a white border. Okay, then I wanted to use another piece to make a strawberry slush border. And I could have come in with a piece that was, 4 inches by 4 1/4. But I thought, why use that much cardstock when we don't need to? What I'm going to do is I'm just going to take this scrap of 1 inch that I have, and I'm going to glue it on the top, and then I'm going to glue it on the bottom. And then I can use up some scraps that I had laying around, and I'm not using, a large amount of cardstock, so I'm saving on supplies. And like I said, this is 1 inch because that's what I had left over from a different project. But it could be a 1/2 inch. It could be, any number of sizes. The key is going to be the middle part. And so that's where this basic white's going to come in. And I'm going to need the trimmer. And the first thing I want to do is just score this every 2 1/8 inch. Because that's going to give me the kind of accordion fold we need in the middle. This might even be better done. 2 1/8. 2 1/8. Might even be better done on the simply scored. Okay, 2 1/8, 4 1/4. And then the next one's going to be 6 3/8, but it's also 2 1/8 inch from the other side. So it's basically just splitting this into 4 equal panels. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and kind of burnish these a little just so you can see them better on camera. Because now what we're going to do is we're going to make 2 cuts. So I'm going to come down 2 inches. And then I'm going to cut from 1 inch. So I'm lining up the edge of my blade down here with the 1 inch on that. Oop, come on, focus. Okay, so I've got my 1 inch line, and I'm going to go up to 7.5. Okay. Then I'm going to flip this over, and I'm going to do the same thing. And this is, again, 2 inches from this side, but I could have gone over this way and said 3.25, and it would be the same thing. So either 3.25 this way or 2 inches this way, depending on how you're more comfortable. It's not mandatory that you do it one way or the other. We just need that slit to go from 1 to 7.5. Okay, then we're going to come this way, and we're going to go at the 1 inch. Since this was 8.5, 1 inch in gets us the 7.5, and then the other 1 inch in gets us the 1. So those are the two sides we started with. But this time what I'm going to do is only score in the middle on that little 1.25 inch section. So we're putting a fold right there. Okay, let's do the same thing over here. I'm going to put it at 1 inch and go back and forth between those two lines. Okay, if you're not quite to the lines, if you stopped a little short, you could go in with your paper snips and just give it a little bit of a snip. And I started out with the wrong score line there. So one of the things I can do is turn this over, and I can just kind of rub it out from the back. So I'm just kind of flattening it, but I'm not worried about it because we're going to put a square of designer series paper over that. So it's not going to matter. Okay, but this is basically what we want, is we want this cut into or divided into 4 panels. And then we're going to bend. Okay, so these are going to be valleys on the outside. And then the middle one is going to be a mountain. Okay, so just worry about that first. We're not worried about the middle yet. We'll adjust that. But our 2 1/8, 4 1/4, and 6 3/8 are just going to sandwich up like that. Then I'm going to take these, and I'm going to bend that particular one back. Okay, so I'm going to have a little bit of extra here, but that's okay. Well, by the time we close it, we're not going to see it. Okay, but so the top and bottom were a valley, a mountain, a valley. The middle is a valley, a mountain, a valley, a mountain, a valley. Okay, when this goes into the book, of course, I'll have a diagram. Okay. So then what we're going to end up doing is decorating this before we put it into the card, because it's going to be a whole lot easier to just add all of our layers from this point, especially the stamping, because we're going to do hello with our letters over here. So I'm going to bring in those sticky letters. Again, I used strawberry slush cardstock with adhesive sheet on the back. So we're going to just peel and stick. But in order to line them up so that everything fits and is evenly distributed, we're going to do this in a particular order. We're going to start out with the H first. This is where I need my take your pick tool. I love this tool. Hopefully everybody has one of these. These are fantastic. I do have Thursday's card ready and already scheduled. Hopefully you've seen that. Okay, I'm going to put H far over to that score line, and then I'm going to come in with the last letter, which is the O, and I'm going to put it far to the other side. So I'm using my Take Your Pick tool as just a little tool to hold it in place. You may want to come in with a small ruler and just kind of set that there so that you know that you are in the middle. Okay, and see, here is a dark line and here's a dark line, and they're kind of even distance from the letters. So I'm going to use this dark line in the middle, and that's where I'm going to put the first L. So I'm evenly spacing this L between the H and the O. And then I'll fill in the other two letters in between those two. Does that make sense? Come on. Okay, so I'm using my guide here. So I've got my bottoms all lined up, and I'm sticking this right in between the two. So it looks a little weird, but it's the best way I have found to evenly space them, rather than laying them down in order where you might run out of space or might have leftover space at the end. Did everyone have a nice weekend? My husband and I took our e-bikes up to Boise and rode the Boise Greenbelt, and it was perfect. It was like 72 degrees out. It was busy, but it wasn't too busy. And it, you know, the Boise Greenbelt has water and trees, and it was just really pretty and good exercise. We got 30 miles in on Saturday. Okay, so then we're going to do the little, I want to do the stamping, and then we'll do the little corners. So like I said, I only want the word summer. I don't want adventures. So I'm going to come in with my Misty Moonlight, and I'm going to ink up just the word summer, making sure I didn't hit the A over there at all. And if I did, I'd come in with a piece of tape to cover that up, or maybe come in with the Simply Chamois and just, you know, wipe that off gently. And then I'm going to stamp it right in the middle here. So there we have Hello Summer. Okay, my red ones are the smaller that I made. These are the 7/8 by 1 1/8. So they're going to go out there. And then the blue was the 1 by 1 1/8. Please remember to like and comment and share. The more that you guys do that, the more YouTube is willing to share my videos, because it shows you find them interesting. And it helps me know I'm not sitting out here talking to myself. You know, I like the e-bike a lot, because when we hit hills, because of my heart trouble, I get, worried when I get too out of breath. And so having that little extra help, I haven't used the throttle much, but the extra pedal assist that it gives you makes it a whole lot better when I have to do hills or catch up or something. Just makes me feel a whole lot better about things. Last thing I need to do is be out there trying to exercise and have a heart attack, right? Okay, so be careful when you place these because they only go one way. Because they were they're 1 7/8 by 2. It's not much of a difference, but it's just enough that it'll really look off. Okay. But it is kind of nice that all 8 of these are all the same size. And you have to love the way Stampin' Up's designer series paper works and all the color coordination, and that they all work like within the paper pack. All the designs work really well together. And then all I need to do is just pick out the colors I'm going to work with for my inks and cardstock. So if I start with the designer series paper, then it makes the rest of it easy. The other thing is we've only done paved trails. I don't really want to ride out there on the street. My husband has ridden his bike back and forth to work a few times. I just don't trust the cars on the road. So I like it when there's a paved path we can follow that's away from all the cars. Okay, there we go. That's going to be our inside. So is that easier than you thought? Does it look confusing? Is there any questions I can answer about it? Okay, I'm just laying this down and then trimming from the front this time. I usually trim from the back, but that's because it's the color difference. See, the way that it makes it easy to cut is I know I'm cutting between the white and the pink. If I'm back here, you can't really tell. I mean, kind of, because it's not covering the whole thing, but it's just easier when there's a stark color difference to know what part you're trimming off. Okay, so I'm going to take this piece and I'm just going to put it right on the front, smack in the center. Again, this is easier for me to do before I put the inside in because it lays nice and flat right now. Okay, then I'm going to take some circle punches. We're going to punch out the front. So I'm just going up a size So I've got 2" and 2 1/4. And you can do this with any shape and with dies, punches, whatever you want to work with. Just I like the border going around the outside. Again, if you wanted to save cardstock, you may want to punch a butterfly or, you know, something smaller out of the middle of this. Then you can put this on top and nobody will know anything's missing inside. And on this one, we're going to do Fun in the Sun. So where did I move my stamp set to? There we go. It's here somewhere. Come on, I know it's right under my nose. That's one of the deals about photopolymer stamps, is them being clear, especially when they're new. You can't see them. Okay. This time I don't need to worry about it being straight because we're stamping on a circle. But because of the way it stamps, there's a little bit of extra room. So that's where I'm going to come in with one of the little flowers that we cut out of the washi tape and a mini glue dot. And we can stick this on one side. And then I'm going to stick a couple embellishments on there. Am I missing the sticky? Yes. Okay. Somehow this bead fell off and didn't bring the sticky with it. Okay. And I would usually stick some dimensionals under this before I put it on, but I think I'm not going to this time just because it's already going to be pretty thick with all that stuff in there. But it depends on whether or not you're mailing it. If you're mailing it, then it being thick is an issue. If you're hand delivering it, then it's not an issue. So if you're hand delivering, go ahead and put some dimensionals in there. It'll give it a little bit of a pop. Okay, now what I want to do is put my inside in. Okay, so I know I want it to go like this. So I'm going to start on one side and I'm going to put adhesive, probably more than usual because it's going to get movement. People are going to tug at it. So maybe even tear and tape might have been a good idea here. Okay, but then I'm just going to center it in here so that the three sides are as equal as I can get them here. Then I'm going to sandwich everything together as if the card was closed. Okay, and then yes, okay, it's in there the right side up. Okay. And then I can push that closed. And then when we open it, there we go. So there is our internal shutter card that only needs a little bit of decorating. So just for fun, I'm going to go in here and just toss down a couple little images that we cut out of the washi tape. And I know I've done several in a row with this bundle, but it's just so fun. I'm considering doing a class with this one. Is this something you guys might want a class out of on my class to go options? The last one I did was the Winnie the Pooh. We could also do this one. This is what we're doing on Thursday. We could use the relaxing water side as a class. But this is what we're doing Monday for our fun fold card. It's a Mira fold. I've seen some people call it a mirror fold. But when I really looked into it, it's a Mira fold. And I've done a double Mira before, but this is a single Mira. And that will be Thursday. Okay, so I'm just checking back in the comments to see if Patricia says she has bike paths in her area. That's great. We have the one along the canyon, which is pretty great, but it's the only one I really found that's halfway decent. We have another one in Rock Canyon, and in the park, it's kind of, the road's a little rough. It hasn't been maintained very well. And then the other one, the homeless people kind of live down there. So kind of some sketchy characters I wasn't thrilled with. Okay, so I don't see any questions. So I guess I will just see you on Thursday for another fun fold card. Thanks. Bye.